Hello everybody and welcome back to the English Shooting Weekly live stream. As always, I hope you've had a fantastic shooting filled week. For anybody new, welcome, get involved, bring up the topics, start the conversation, join the conversation, have your opinions heard, raise questions about anything shooting related or otherwise that you want to discuss or have any potential semi-educated answers to. But yes, I hope you've all had a fantastic week, and of course don't forget to support the channel by as little as liking the videos. It helps share the channel out there, beating the YouTube analytics. Make sure you are subscribed if you're not already, and of course you can join the Only ES fans if you want to support the channel even more. And we do have merch. If you want to go over to EnglishShooting.org, you can get your merch fix there. But yes, another week, another Prime Minister. It really is the revolving door at number 10 Downing Street at the moment. But, you know, where change is afoot, it seems to be positive for once. I'd say overall positive for once for the shooting community and firearms owners, but we will of course be talking about this in great detail in a little bit. We will also be talking about the Scottish firearms licensing inquiry. This is something I think we touched on briefly on one of the live streams, but it's not something that has actually been covered in great depth, and actually looking into it, it's something that if I'd have known a bit more about it, or it was maybe a little bit more out there with the main organisations we are paying to do this sort of stuff, I probably would have covered in more detail, as there was something to respond to. Speaking of something to respond to, there is still the lead consultation. I'll be giving another reminder about that. There's a video on the channel. If you don't know what I'm talking about and you haven't filled it out already, like seriously, just pause the live stream right now, go over to the latest video on the channel, watch that, fill in the consultation. That is far more important, but we will be talking a bit about that later. A new bit of tech. I love me a new little bit of tech. Anything that you know, just even if it gives you the assumption or the feeling that you're going to shoot better, a little bit of technology, bit of Gucci gear never goes amiss. We're going to be talking about the Mantis Blackbeard X and Mantis Blackbeard, which one way or another will be on the channel very, very soon. And also some great news about the potential venue for the European Shotgun Championships, which could be here in the UK, all going well. So we'll be covering that. But yes, the main topic for this evening. The main topic isn't necessarily if Sunak is anti-gun. Not really if he's pro-gun, but generally does pro-Fieldsports or pro-countryside mean pro-gun? I don't think they're necessarily correlated. There's a good chance that they are, but let's get what we know out of the way first, which is down to a couple of articles which has made it very, very clear, other than the fact that Sunak is the MP for Richmond in Yorkshire, which is a big grouse shooting area of the country. So his constituents are going to be, pretty shooting heavy, or certainly game industry heavy, and you can see that by articles from like here at the Shoot app, Rishi Sunak and his viral speech on grouse shooting. One thing the Fieldsports world isn't used to is public approval from MPs, but this speech from Rishi Sunak is different. At the time, Rishi Sunak is making the case for his constituents on a 2016 review of grouse shooting. The speech isn't about economics, but the social value and the benefits to people in these areas. The president is on jobs provided and the indirect benefits to the wider community. So you can't really be anti something if you're out there actually promoting it and sort of fighting its corner. Now, of course, an MP, in my mind, should put aside their own political views and their own interests and ideals, and should be putting forward the ideals of that of their constituents. And if it's a heavily grouse shooting area, then he should be putting that view and defending that view, whether or not he actually agrees with it. He's there to represent his constituents. But I think there's a general overall feel that this is something that he does genuinely see the benefits of, and that he's a supporter of, because, well, it's yet to be seen, but maybe he's not a complete idiot, and he can see how important to the rural economy shooting is. And then we see other aspects here from Scribehound. Following Natural England's withdrawal of the general licenses, I'm sure we all remember what happened here, but as a quick refresher, basically there's these general licenses that are sort of automatically issued to anybody that allows you to shoot certain birds, i.e. sort of corvids and pigeons, pests that we need to control over crops, things like that. Without these general licenses, we're not allowed to do that, and they actually withdrew them back in 2019, which caused havoc within the rural community. The rural community has been left in shock and looking for information as to how they continue to conduct the vital pest control that needs to take place at this time of year. An email from Rishi Sunak, MP for Richmond in Yorkshire, sheds much needed light on the situation. So it's not just an update on it, but in his own words, like you, I was shocked to hear this news and extremely disappointed. I fully appreciate and understand the considerable disruption this action causes to our agricultural community and rural economy and the livelihoods of many. Let's not forget that this guy is incredibly well off. There's all these different metrics of actually how rich he is and this, that and the other, and to be honest, I don't really care. If anything, I think, don't you want somebody in charge of the country that can actually make some money, especially with interest rates as they are, especially as how the economy is right now? Maybe actually having somebody in the richest MP in charge of the country, maybe he can transfer a little bit of that money making to the country as a whole. But he sees that. He doesn't just see his constituents, he sees the economy in this. He sees the money in shooting and the economic impact, both in the rural aspect but also wider spread. They predict that the shooting economy in total is worth about £2 billion here within the UK. You take 20% off of that, that is a load of tax. So I think it's fair to say, given these few articles, and there's loads of others as well that sort of confirm that he's very much in support of the rural communities, very much in support of grouse shooting, and say shooting in general. But does that make him pro-gun? A lot of the Fieldsports channels, and Fieldsports channel included, Basque and other country side organisations and Fieldsports organisations are hailing this as a massive success. And I think for Fieldsports and countryside pursuits and the countryside in general, I think it is. The guy is obviously pro-countryside, pro-Fieldsports. But I think in terms of the target shooters out there, in terms of people that are passionate about firearms ownership, firearms history, that side of shooting sports, not necessarily the field sports element, the game shooting, the grouse shooting, the rough shooting, the target sports element, just because he's on favour of the rural side of things doesn't necessarily mean that he's pro-gun or that he's, say, pro-target sports. And I think it's either going to be our downfall as a community, or it will be the way things go if we continue on a downward spiral, is that game shooting is incredibly safe, right? For a couple of reasons, right? It's where the money is in the sport. Let's not beat around that. It's where the most money is. You get people turning up in £150,000 coach-built Range Rovers, pulling out their £100,000 match-paired Purdies on a peg that's going to cost them £1,500 to £2,000 a day, and they're going to go out and do that 20 times in a season. Now, a huge amount of wealth, and with wealth, comes power. A lot of MPs, certainly Conservative MPs, are known game shooters. They're known advocates of countryside and rural pursuits, i.e. game shooting. So that's going to be very safe because of the money and the power that is involved. They have the ability to lobby, they have the ability to fund protection to their sport. And the largest shooting organisation within the UK, BASC, with reportedly 150,000 members, makes no attempt at hiding the fact that they are incredibly game focused. So they're going to be very well protected in that aspect. But then it's also the firearms that they use. It's the side-by-sides, it's the over and unders, and for, say, deer stalking, other hunting activities, it can be done with a single shot bolt action rifle if it really came to it. And we all know that those are going to be the last guns that they come after. They're the least offensive. They're the least scary to people out there, mainly because they're black, mainly because they don't have detachable magazines, they don't look tactical, and you don't find them in Call of Duty. So it's got a lot of protection around that, and I think we could lull ourselves, and certainly the field sports side of things, the BASCs of this world, the countryside alliances of this world, could feel very relaxed and very comfortable with an obviously pro field sports Prime Minister in power, and almost go, look, we've got this. Like, yes, a Prime Minister doesn't make a government. A Prime Minister, as we have seen many times, can be backstabbed and outvoted by their own party, but it obviously helps. They are the top, they are the steerer of the party, and have the most influence overall, and also get the most airtime. So politically, they can influence a lot better on matters that they feel passionate about and want to steer the narrative of. And I think there's a danger that we could go, right, finally, we seem to have somebody that's an advocate of our sport. And what could happen is that target sports and firearms ownership, anything other than, say Section 2 firearms and a bolt action rifle, that could very quickly get chipped away, because where the money is, where the power is, where the influence is, that is very happy within its bubble. So there's nothing to say that Rishi is specifically pro-gun. He's pro-field sports, and yes, I'm sure he has an understanding, like anybody would, that is involved in game shooting, involved in rural pursuits. They're going to understand firearms, they're going to be more comfortable around firearms, but it's comfortability around specific types and specific areas, mainly walnut furniture and more traditional guns. When you show them an AR-15, when you show them a Section 1 shotgun, when you show them the vast array of different guns that we can own here in the country, in this country, are you going to get the same sort of support? Are you going to get the same level of protection? I don't think that is guaranteed. It sounds like I'm being a little bit of a negative Nelly on it. I just don't want us to be complacent. I don't want to think like this is an absolute guaranteed massive win for everybody that is involved in shooting sports. I still think, as always, we need to stay very, with our fingers on the pulse, and with what's going on with firearms licensing at the moment, pay very close attention, as it's very easy for us to relax and feel like it's safe. And especially if organisations like BASC and big news media outlets like Fieldsports Channel, they don't look at the target sport threat, it can become very, very mute in that area, and makes the fight so much more harder. Somebody asking, Mr. Star, is Sunak a shooter? Again, there's nothing to suggest that. I can't find any images or confirmation that he's ever been on a shoot, ever even shot a gun, but because of the area that he lives in, he has met up. There's plenty of images of him out on the grouse moors, talking to gamekeepers, talking to landowners, talking to other like game shooters. So he's very much involved within that community. He's very aware of that community and probably very much up to speed with it. And I would say there's probably a good chance. Look, the guy is reportedly worth £700 million. He lives up in Richmond, Yorkshire. The chances that he's never been on a game shoot, I'm going to say, are probably quite slim. Whether he's probably certainly been invited on a few. And it's well known that a lot of Conservative MPs, both traditional long-termers and even newer ones, like their game shooting. So, he's surrounded in that environment. He's definitely going to be comfortable in it at least. But again, nothing confirmed or nothing, nothing to concrete that. Did Blair not ban 2.2 pistols? Yes, he did, but let's not forget, and this is what everybody loves to bring up when we talk about which party is the best party for shooting and this, that and the other, is that historically Conservatives have banned more guns and have brought in more firearms restrictions than Labour. In terms of banning 2.2 pistols, as far as I understand it, I think I was 6 or 7 at the time. So, forgive me if my memory isn't so hot on it. And I think at that point I probably hadn't even shot a gun. So, maybe a BB gun. Anyway, that's not the point. Basically, after Dunblane, we had the pistol ban. That was under the Conservatives, and then I think Blair got in, and very shortly after he got in, he thought, so the Conservatives did leave 2.2 pistols. They were like, well, hang on a minute, they're still needed for Olympic sports. We don't want to penalise our Olympians, serious top-level athletes. And then Labour got in, and Blair just thought, oh, hang on a minute. Well, first of all, easy win. There was still a lot of publicity, a lot of heartache over what happened at Dunblane, and for I think a few political brownie points, thought let's just finish off pistols entirely, and also move 2.2 pistols to Section 5 as well. That's, unfortunately, we are the easy way to political points for politicians. So yeah, what do you think? Does anybody have a smoking gun on Rishi Sunak? What are your general feelings about him? Don't get me wrong, whilst I don't want to go out there and say he's pro-gun, we're all safe, handguns are going to be back on the menu, boys, I think it's overall positive. Just having somebody at the top of government that understands field sports and maybe wouldn't crawl into a badger hole hiding after a couple of gunshots out in the field, I think that's incredibly beneficial. But in fairness, I think we had that with the likes of Boris Johnson, and during his time, firearms licensing has gone down the pan. Something that I think could be a nice, something that could come of this is, yes, he's going to be he's the Prime Minister now. His constituents aren't exactly going to have his full attention, but he's still going to be their MP. He's still going to have to listen to his constituents probably more than anybody else. They're certainly going to have a way in. And if I don't actually know how Yorkshire, let's have a look. I've got the Basque firearms licensing table. Firstly, let's find Richmond, Yorkshire. Let's just find what county, what it's going to be under. It's North Yorkshire. So let's find out how North Yorkshire is doing. So basically, if North Yorkshire is having issues with firearms licensing at the moment, then there's a good chance that they could be applying pressure to Sunak. It could be on the, it could be very much in his in the forefront of his mind if it is causing, if it's a heavy shooting populace in North Yorkshire, which we know it is, then there's going to be a lot of pressure to sort out firearms licensing. As the top of the government, it's very easy for him to go to the Home Secretary and go, look, sort this mess out. And interestingly, the Home Secretary, Suva Bullerman, I think is her name, is actually the MP for the town next over, where my parents live, and my dad has already been like, look, I'll hook you up. If she's still doing her clinics, constituent clinics, then I'll arrange a meeting and you can come as a +1. That would be an interesting discussion. Hello, Madam Secretary. So about Section 5. So yeah, like that could be beneficial. I'm definitely going to try and sit down if that opportunity comes up. Being the town next over, and I used to live there. I pretty much grew up in that town, so it's still quite close. And actually, my business is registered there still, so I can say I'm a business owner in the local area, and I need to speak to my MP, who just happens to be the Home Secretary. But yeah, North Yorkshire. So let's have a quick look at how they're doing. So North Yorkshire on the table. They are quite a large firearms sort of owning county. So you compare that to other people. Staffs is pretty big. Thames Valley is pretty big. West Mercer. So it's up there in terms of the numbers comparing to everywhere else. It's definitely one of the larger ones. How are they? Well, they're performing okay. So I think the magic number on certs processed is around 20%, and they're over that. Average turnaround time for renewals at this point 60 days. A little on the longer side, but compared to others, not horrendous. Turnaround for a grant, first time turnaround for a grant. 128 days. So what's that? That's just under 6 months. Again, it's a little long, but it's not horrendous. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that would happily take 6 months turnaround. So average turnaround is 3 months. That's that's not that bad overall. It could be better. I don't know how they're still performing now. So, really what we want is North Yorkshire's firearms licensing to really drop the ball, really annoy these potentially 24,000 people, 25,000 people, and get them right onto the phone and blow her with Rishi and be like, look, sort out firearms licensing. So, he will probably understand. Again, this is, I think, a benefit of having somebody that's not necessarily just Fieldsports friendly or rurally friendly, but somebody that understands the economy and the art of making money. If you have this £2 billion industry that is being stifled because people can't go and get the licenses that they need to enter this and fuel this multi-billion pound industry, well, that's losing money. That's losing the government money. That's losing him money effectively in the government. So he will want to have that sorted. He won't want to be turning down tax money, will he? And this is something that we've covered on the channel. It's something that I think I want to do a little bit more research on. Maybe get some emails from people. But the shooting industry is in a bit of an overall slump at the moment. And we know that this is for two reasons. How much of one is responsible, I don't know. My feeling is it's not just the cost of living crisis. I don't think that is the main reason that we've seen this slowdown. I mean, when we speak to any gun shop, when we speak to any supplier, and I mean the big, massive suppliers that are supplying the biggest names within the shooting industry, they're all saying that times are hard for them at the moment. The curve is downwards. So cost of living and this the rise of living costs, that's definitely going to have an impact. This is a pastime. This is a hobby for the majority of people, and when they need to tighten their belts, the hobbies, the pastimes, those are going to be the ones that they sort of cut down on first. But I think what's having a much bigger effect is the first time shooters. People that don't have any of the gear and they need to go out and buy their initial stock of ammo. They're going to go out there and buy 2, 3, 4 guns in the first year. They're going to buy their first safe. They're going to buy all the PPE, the eye pro, the ear pro, the clothing, all the accessories. They're going to be the ones probably paying for more tuition. They're going to be the ones probably more active initially out there, paying for clays, paying for range time, joining clubs. So if people can't get the firearm or shotgun certificate, if they can't go and buy those guns, it makes it a lot harder. And we haven't, I don't think, seen for the last year or two that influx of new shooters, and from an industry perspective, an influx of new money to the industry. And shooting sports, the older participants, they might be leaving for various reasons, and that we haven't got this replacement. So we've seen that overall the number of certificates has dropped over the last couple of years because the new people can't get their certificates. We should be increasing. The sport is increasing in popularity. It's increasing in attention and participation everywhere you look, but the licenses aren't. So I think that says something quite big. Now, again, somebody that's got their head switched on when it comes to the economy, and certainly the rural economy, I think that's something that Rishi isn't going to... I'm sure he's got bigger problems to worry about when it comes to finding money and, saving costs. But it's going to get to a point where hopefully they're looking at every aspect, and if they see a way that they can make a bit more money, he's probably going to be all for it. But yeah, let me know what you guys think, what your thoughts on Rishi. The UK banned semi-auto centerfire rifles in the 1970s. I don't believe it was then. I think it was either late 80s or early 90s. Semi-auto ban UK. Like, everyone really knows about Dunblane. Well, it was Hungerford, wasn't it? Like, just Hungerford. When was Hungerford? 1987 was Hungerford. So it would have probably been 87, 88 that centerfire full bore rifles were banned. Not 1970s. It was very, it's pretty much 10 years before Dunblane. Rishi is very American orientated, Stanford graduate, and he had a green card, wants to go back to the US for retirement 100%. That could have a big impact if he is Americanized, if he's used to the American culture. Of course, you do have polar opposites in America. You have maybe the Canadian gun culture, or Canadian political view on guns at the moment. You could have the California America gun view, or you could have the Texas American gun view. Very, very different overall. But yeah, if you spent time in America, like, if anybody's been out to America, like, it is, it's not like everybody has a gun, although most people do. It's not completely in your face, but you spend a long enough time out there, you're going to see gun shops, you're going to see open carry, you're going to see shooting ranges, certainly a lot more. It's very easy in the UK to, like, never notice a shooting club or range or a shop. But out there, a little harder to miss. Gun laws in the UK were okay pre-1987 from your research, not like the US, but okay. Yeah, like, this is a lot of things that people miss. When I've done sort of interviews, or I've spoken to people that want to understand about UK firearms law, they're always very shocked, and actually, like, how much we can still own. And a lot of people think it is just limited to, say, an over and under or side by side. But, you talk to them about the breadth of, it's mainly when I'm talking to people about practical shooting, and they're like, well, you say practical shotgun, what are you doing that with? And I go, well, it's a unrestricted capacity shotgun. You know, like, we're not restricted, and they're like, what, you can have a pump action and a semi-auto, and you're like, yep, you know, we can have straight bore rifle, we can have semi-auto rifles and 2.2 rimfire and this, that and the other. So we can still own quite a bit, but yes, of course, like semi-auto centre fires and handguns do make up quite a large proportion of the overall firearms ownership, certainly out there in America. I would certainly like to go back to the 80s. I would like to go back to, you know, I was going to say like the firearms licensing of now, but no, that's not what I mean. You know, the reason Hungerford and Dunblane happened were because of deficiencies within our firearms licensing at the time. The checks and balances that weren't there that we now have, the scrutiny that people will go under now that they didn't used to. Okay, well, look at Plymouth. There's not really any scrutiny there with the process of giving him his certificate back, but you know, there's actually a scary amount of sort of synergies between Plymouth and Dunblane, and of course I think the greater synergy is that the lawful firearms owners of this country are the ones that are going to get screwed again. But you know, when it was certainly not our fault. But yeah, I certainly would like to go back to greater times. Maybe you want to put it that way. Aaron T, honestly, most politicians don't care about gun owners. Gun ownership in the UK is pretty much a subculture that most don't care about. I would completely agree, and I would say, yeah, you're right, most people. But again, when his constituents are a very gay grouse shooting focused group of people, he's going to be aware and maybe care about it a lot more. And if he understands the benefits of it, you know, that's, people put up that sort of initial anti-wall, don't they? They're just, guns, oh, bad, you know, guns bad, guns kill. There can't possibly be any benefits to, you know, certainly owning a gun and also shooting at birds, like, what, you monster. And then you break it down and we go, well, what about the pubs, the hotels, the local businesses that have this influx of people? What about the people that are employed on these estates to manage the land? What about the land management in itself, the ecosystem management, you know, you're preserving nature, preserving walkways for people, and bridleways for people to use on these multiple 1,000-acre estates. Like, you know, that doesn't happen for free, right? It needs management, and the majority of that is due to game shooting. So when you understand that, and you think, well, hang on, okay, yeah, this is supporting, you know, these little pockets of sort of rural economies, and these beautiful stretches of land are only maintained and really here for us to enjoy because of the money from game shooting, then people seem to switch on to it if they've got half a brain. I couldn't find any league tables for 2022, only 2020. Have they been published? This is a slightly different list, and it's certainly more comprehensive than what has ever been put out before. So I know pretty much every single week we look at this table, but it really is like that good and relevant to a lot of the conversations that we have. So just as a little refresher, Basque released this article. So if you want to go and see this, you can go onto the Basque website. Firearms licensing inconsistencies are systematic of wider police failures. So basically, Basque, the long and the short of it is, Basque does these annual reports, and it's basically the waiting times for firearm and shotgun certificate applications, and it gives you a good idea of what your local firearms licensing department does. If you didn't know, or for those that don't know, you know, it's done county by county. So Hampshire has its own firearms licensing department. Surrey has its own firearms licensing department. Yes, there's a few that have twinned, a few that have teamed up, but generally it's done county by county. And to say that the performance is inconsistent would be an understatement. So usually Basque does this league table, and the really sort of funny story is that they kept bringing up this league table in front of FELWIG, which is the Firearm Explosives Licensing Working Group, where you get all the stakeholders from the likes of BASC to, the Home Office, NABUS, the police in general, firearms licensing, and that's where the sort of real key decisions are made. And the person that chaired it was like, look, BASC, this isn't helpful, this isn't constructive, just coming at us and telling us how slow or fast we're processing certificates, it's not constructive. And if you want to have any effect, then it needs to be far more detailed, and there needs to be a load more metrics in place for us to get any meaningful information from it. And BASC went, hold my beer, put in a load of freedom of information requests, and have compiled this table for every firearms licensing department. Some weren't able to or didn't reply to some of the questions, but overall you can see that you have at least the average time it takes for every single county here in the country. And this is the first time, and this is why it's so powerful, certainly with all of the conversations of increasing firearms licensing at the moment and the cost of firearms licensing. Very, very powerful figures. This is the first time I had ever seen this. It actually breaks down per county how much they are issuing a certificate for, or how much it is costing them per certificate. Very, very interesting information overall. So yeah, if you're looking for the latest league tables, this will be it. I'll double check the times of it. It says 2022. I can't remember results. Number at process during 2021 to 2022. So yeah, this is pretty much the most up-to-date table you're gonna find. Very, very powerful, and it does give you a good idea of where your firearms licensing department is. Although, is it really that up to date? Are they taking into account the people that are still waiting for since COVID? I don't know, but that's the table if you want to go and see it. Callum will buy KFC for anybody who hits the like button. Yeah, I'll buy you a singular chicken popcorn. Popcorn chicken. But thanks for reminding me, hit that like button. What are the chances Rishi will last long enough to do anything beyond the immediate current events and have time for pet issues? A very, very good point. If you want to go on the average of, the life expectancy of a Prime Minister at the moment is very, 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 very short. However, it depends if you want to put your tinfoil caps on and talk about conspiracies. But it is, I think, absolutely mad. Like, we were already in this sort of twilight zone of what the hell is going on with our politicians and politics, even more than usual. And you look at it and you go, okay, like in the way that our democracy works here within the UK, we don't vote in a single person, right? We don't have a presidency. We vote in a party, and the party is voted in by the one that has the most MPs for a majority within the Houses of Commons. So, yes, you still are technically voting for individual people to represent your own constituency, but overall you are voting for the party that they are associated with. So you generally vote for a party, be that Conservatives or Labour. And, so Rishi, the party has been voted in. So I think it's unfairness to say, Liz Truss wasn't voted in, or Rishi wasn't voted in, because that's not really how our politics work. Conservatives have the power, they are the government, and the Conservatives can decide who they want to be the party leader. But it's just very, very strange and odd, and I think actually it's absolutely insane that they go through the whole bother and rigmarole of having a party vote for who they want to be the leader. And that is how Liz Truss got into power. And when I say the party voted, it's anybody that's a member of the Conservative Party, and anybody can join. It's not just the MPs, it's not just the people running to be MPs. Any individual can join a party. You can join the Conservatives, you can join the Labour Party. And the members, and I think it was, it was hundreds of thousands of people that voted on who was going to be the leader of the Conservatives. So there was still a lot of democracy there. There was still a vote, and they decided Liz Truss. It's, I think, quite evident at this point that the powers that be didn't really like the fact that Liz won. It was very clear that Sunak was the favourite. It was very clear, I think, that the party overall wanted Sunak to be in power. But then, sort of Liz comes out of nowhere, and they're like, well, hang on a minute now, Liz Truss. And then everything suddenly goes against her, and a party goes against her. And I think it's like, right, we didn't get the result what we want, the result we wanted to begin with. Let's get the original guy back in. And Rishi walks in, sort of no contest, right? No vote whatsoever. But that is, of course, how our politics works. I think because he seems to have generally more support of the party, and more support overall, and it very much seems that that's what people wanted, he probably will last a little bit longer. I don't think it's necessarily difficult to last longer than Liz Truss, but he will last longer, and who knows, whether things have happened, may be able to actually win an election. I certainly think at the moment has the greater chance than trusted. People asking for the link to the performance table. Let me just bring that up for you guys. Again, the reason I have two computers. I've got one doing all the sort of the stream. I've got the actual buffering and studio, and then I have the YouTube, which is what I use to speak to you guys, because they're on different when I say speak to you guys, I mean read your comments. This is the link to, so if you go down to the bottom of this page, you'll be able to find the table. Very, very useful, worth a good read. People are saying vote lettuce. I hate lettuce. Why would you? Why would you? Why would you vote lettuce? I always remove the lettuce. Didn't know this was the English politics channel. Well, it's relevant, all right. It's not like it's every month that we get a new Prime Minister. Crispy or original recipe? Wait, they do crispy popcorn chicken now? I have to try that out. He makes money for himself, his mates, not normal people. Look at his bank account and yours. How do you know that I'm not worth £700 million? Oh yeah, because I don't have my own range. That's, yeah, okay, right. Seriously, that ever hear the if I ever hit the numbers on the Euro Millions, 50, 100, 150 million, it's the first thing I'm doing, buying a big old fat bit of land, range, or just buy Bisley, just rock up to Bisley and go, how much? And then ban single shot bolt action rifles and just turn Sentry into a load of practical bays and just be like, you want to shoot out to 1,200 yards, do you? Nah, you're going to shoot out to 25 yards, but do it very, very quickly. No, I'd still support target rifle. Dan is getting Dan's getting his order bumped. We don't talk about that. Anyway, moving away from the Prime Minister and all of that, but very still much on to firearms and slightly less politics, slightly. So this is something, again, I think we touched on the channel but actually something quite big that's going on. Again, this sort of really points, saying that there seems to be quite a build up to a big change to firearms licensing and potentially firearms law. We're seeing all of these consultations at the moment, all of these murmurings and pushes for things to change. Like, my feeling is something has to change, and we are going to see potentially a big change very, very soon. But of course, there was the unfortunate incident out in Skye, and basically they're examining firearms licensing in Scotland now. Like, last time they did that, it didn't really work that well because they brought in airgun licensing, and that was a complete failure. And also, like, what is this? Like, come on. Just like, you've gone to your iStock and typed in gun. Like, okay, first of all, that is I think a CP88, Walther CP88 pellet gun. That is not necessarily a firearm. That is an air pistol, legally a firearm, but let's not even go there. And it's a handgun. Like, this, we're not talking about handguns here, right? And you've already restricted air rifles and air pistols, so that's already done. Not relevant, that image. Really does narc me when they do that. And apologies, this was a while ago, but it has been very quiet. And I think somebody sort of chipped in like on the lead consultation video and said something like, basically you should be ashamed of yourself because you haven't covered this. And I'm like, whoa, like, sorry, like, this is, yes, it's got this channel has got far more out of control and bigger and out of control than I thought it would be, and certainly a much bigger part of my life than I ever intended it to be. But this is, at the root cause, this is still like a passion project. This is still like volunteer. Like, yes, there's a little bit of ad money that goes to buying the thousands of pounds worth of equipment that I end up buying to improve the channel and this, that and the other. Everything gets reinvested. I mean, the legal fees alone are far more than I've ever made on ad revenue. Ask me how I know. And I'm just like, well, hang on a minute. You have these organizations that are literally paid. They're professionally to protect this sport, to raise these issues to us, to incentivize us and ask us to get involved and have our voices heard where it's necessary. And it's like a tumbleweed. And it's like, and suddenly, just because I seem to be the only bugger like actually pushing consultations and asking people to get involved and like making people aware of opportunities to have their voices heard, like, suddenly that's it. If I miss something, like, I've failed. Right? Come on, right? I'm trying my best here. I'm trying to fill in the gap of our professional organisations. But yeah, like, and I sort of said in not so many words the reply back on that video, but then it did get me thinking, like, this channel is run by passion to help promote and protect this sport. And when I do miss stuff like this and miss the opportunity to share and show you guys, like, that is like, well, I should, maybe I should have, but I don't know what I don't know. Right? And I do lean on the likes of Basque. I do lean on the likes of Fieldsports Britain and other outlets within this community to find out about these things. And then I tried to publicize it far more than they do. I mean, again, like, you want an example of the sort of publicity. Oh no, it's gone now. But the NRA, like, you don't know how much longer the lead consultation video was going to be. Like, seriously, I was down. I think overall the video ended up being like 12 or 13 minutes. At one point I was at like 20 minutes. Like, that's the minimum I could get it down to, because it was 12 or 13 minutes, I think, fairly concise, constructive advice, I would hope. And yeah, like 7 minutes of ranting. And I just thought, no, the main reason I'm doing this video is to help people and encourage people to sign this consultation, to give an entry to this consultation. It doesn't necessarily need ranting. That's why I do the live streams. So this is my rant. I think I had this last week, but I'm still not over it. What the hell were our shooting organisations doing with this lead consultation? What are they still doing with it? Like, the consultation shuts on the 6th, and I have seen absolutely nothing out there about it. Like, everyone is just asleep at the wheel. The NRA, nobody has given any advice at all, apart from this channel, of how to fill out that the consultation, to fill it in. Not even just, the NSRA, right? The NSRA, which is a predominantly indoor shooting focused organisation, which would be, mostly unaffected by any of these proposed restrictions from HSE. They're the only ones that have actually done what I think is the bare minimum, is to go out there and tell people, we don't care what you do, we don't care what you write, just write something, just submit. We talk about it all the time. This is a numbers game, right? It's about having the most amount of people taking part in the sport, because numbers means protection. There are safety in numbers politically and elsewhere. And when we have consultations like this and 1,200 people respond, what message does that say to HSE, to the government, to the police? Well, they're not really interested in protecting it, are they? We can just take it away and take it away and take it away, and we're going to get no opposition. No one's going to care. They're not even going to notice what we take away. And it's sort of no wonder. It's no wonder when you have organisations like the NRA, which would be drastically affected by the outdoor ban, the ban of the outdoor use of lead, when they come out, yes, we're going to give you a guide. Back in, they said that back in July, and then nothing. Like, what are they doing? Like, again, it's a professional organisation. Yes, it's a charity, but what are they doing? Right, this is their job. The NRA is the top of target sports in terms of organisations. And what is Basque doing? Like, they're talking about this new avian flu, and they're too busy. Like, I will happily be proven wrong, but I bet you we go on to the Basque Facebook page right now, and every other thing will be game recipes, right? Meanwhile, we've got this. We will get back on to the Scottish thing. I'm sorry, just the side rant. Just bear with me. Like, if you've been watching this channel long enough, you'll know what to do. Just duck and cover. I'll run out of steam in a minute, I promise. So yes, we've got this. Where was I with my rant? We've got this Scottish firearms licensing inquiry. We've got this lead consultation. We had the firearm safety consultation. Let's go have a look through what Basque is doing at the moment, right? Scottish government grouse. So yes, there's new licensing systems. Great, right? That can be a big threat. Yes, this is a big issue. I'm going to have a closer look at this, actually see how good this is, but something to help with security, with your certificate renewals. Air gun shooting. Okay, good to promote, but it's like, bigger things maybe to be focusing on. Yeah, avian influenza, yeah, very big. Sign for shooting live, yeah, very nice. They went up. There was a political post. I'm surprised. Oh, there we go. Okay. I thought we were on a bit of a roll there. Like, there's some good stuff. Note game recipe. Opportunities at Basque. Lol. An advert. Game recipe. Avian influenza. A bit of Basque legacy. Shotgun safety. Because it's all the game shooters that need it. Again, avian influenza, game recipes, bit more about grouse more, farming today, avian influenza, game recipes. It's game recipes, avian influenza. It's like, okay, right? Like, you see what I mean? It's like, we've got these big important points, right? And that goes back, where did I get back to? That goes back to the 18th of October, right? So we've got until the 6th of November to put in responses to this lead consultation. Like, every other post is a game recipe and avian flu, right? But yeah, like, everyone likes some tasty game, and I'm sure avian influenza is a is a concern to a lot of Basque members. But just a little side post, hey guys, just remember there's this really big lead consultation. Maybe you should go and sign it, just in case you've forgotten, because we haven't talked about it for months. NRA, hey, look, we've got a big Facebook following. Guys, could you go and sign this? An email, put out an email. An email costs nothing. Send an email out. Hey guys, sign this. Like, where's the drive? Where's the protection? Where's the passion? Right? They obviously, Basque obviously really like their food, because that's what they seem to be very passionate about. Anyway, there we go. I think I was just very frustrated. That was basically the 7 minutes that I cut out of the video, and you guys, you just saw behind the scenes there. Get more for your money there. Truth Junkie, maybe Callum should invite onto his program someone from Basque or an MP. I'm all game. Like, honestly, please, not going to happen though. I can assure you. You can imagine the MP's security team. Like, who are they meeting? Yeah, this guy who wants to talk about firearms. Oh, he's a certificate holder. He's a vetted person then. Well, about that. And Basque, like fair, if they want to, there is. I'll find a seat. There's no actual seat. I'd more than love to have some, and have a real conversation about it, and bring to their attention the complete lack of focus or support that they seem to give to general firearms ownership and target sports. But I don't think they're going to want to come on here and have that sort of conversation. Last time I didn't go as far as releasing it. I might have shown a couple of clips on live streams on the channel, but I ended up having quite a frank conversation with the director of communications for Basque. So basically the public relations officer for Basque. And this was around the time that I ended up cutting up my membership card and cancelling my Basque membership. And, I will say from that point, he has been incredibly, he's always been very responsive. He's always been, if I've sent a query or a question, they've come back. It was him that I contacted to find out that the person responsible for Plymouth, he had been a Basque member, but wasn't at the time of the shooting. And, my concern was that, Basque in some way had been involved in getting the guy the certificates back. And that's what, there were rumours going around about that. And that turned out not to be the case. I mean, he phoned me. When I sent that email, like within half an hour, this guy phoned me. So respects to that, right? And I have definitely seen a shift. They've done a lot more live videos. They have been a lot more communicative, but when I got onto this call with him, I can't remember what the whole issue was. There's been a lot. Like what was I mad at Basque at that day? But he got on the phone and we got on a Zoom, right? And he basically the initial reception that I got was that he was trying to treat me like some naughty little schoolboy, and he was the headmaster, and he was gonna, put me in my place. Oh no, like, bad attitude to have. Thank you very much. And very quickly got the impression that actually I'm quite well read up on things, that I know what I'm talking about, that like I'm actually fairly switched on when I want to be, and I just caught him out on numerous points. Like, you know, the biggest one was, you know, no, we were responsible for saving the 50 BMG during the offensive weapons bill. Like, no, you weren't. Like, just, that's an outright lie. We did it for the good of target sports. No, you didn't. And then I bring up this article where I think it was him, like verbatim, had said, we are concerned about the banning of high muzzle energy rifles like the 50 BMG caliber because of the effect that it will have on high muzzle energy rifles for hunting. Like, pretty, like, okay, that's probably not verbatim, but along the lines of what he said. And I just said to him, like, what about this quote? Your main interest here was hunting. It wasn't target sports. And I said, regardless, whilst you might have stood up and defended to some extent, it wasn't because of Basque and it wasn't because of you. It was because of the work, the tireless work that the 50 Cal Society was putting in behind the scenes. So, like, how dare you take credit for that when your motive was not for target sports, you know? So anyway, that was a small snippet of the interview in this, and I think he was very pleased that he didn't have Zoom Premium and that the call was limited to 45 minutes. You know, I'm like, don't treat me like an idiot. It's not going to work out well. So anyway, if somebody from Basque would like to come on and have a chat, you're more than welcome. But, you know, when I can take on seasoned professional reporters for the time, like, you know, I don't have any fear. That's probably part of my problem. Like, just whatever. Like, I don't care. Like, I don't mind telling somebody that they're talking absolute bollocks. I know it's mostly me, you know, most of the time, but yeah, I'd happily have an MP, happily have a Basque member on here. I just honestly don't think it would be constructive. It would just, I think it would be good entertainment. Like, maybe I should just do it for that reason alone. But yeah. Anyway, moving on. I wonder what percentage of Basque members actually shoot their game for their recipes compared to this percentage that buy it from Tesco. Well, again, funny enough, Basque is trying to maybe change that percentage a little bit. Alex Dale, welcome to the chat. Sorry to be late. Who's treating Callum like a naughty little schoolboy? This was the communications director for Basque, and as I'm sure you just found out, it didn't work well. It didn't end well. I think they're scared, mate. Lol. It's the beard. Well, it was over Zoom. The beard doesn't have the full intimidation over Zoom. Peter Rose, I shoot game and I eat it. Like, nothing wrong. Like, honestly, I don't have anything wrong with nice game recipes and, you know, eating game and promoting the consumption of game meat. I know the benefits of it. I think it's fantastic. Not at the cost of the really important, you know, it's like, you know, it's that meme, you know, game recipe, or, you know, Basque's social media department, post about game recipes, post about really important consultation that everybody should be aware of and everybody should be completing and submitting. You know, it's like, just balance it, please. Maybe what we should do like a cooking with Basque show, where I meet up with one of their sort of game representatives and we cook one of their recipes, one of their meals, while talking politics. I think that could work beautifully, and I get fed. It's a win-win. Maybe even go on the game shoot as well, get some shooting in, get some game meat, go back, cook, give Basque a roasting. Sounds like my perfect day, to be honest. Anthony L, Callum FAC update. No update. It's the same old. Unsurprising, really, isn't it? I don't know why. A Basque cook-off. No, roasting with Basque. I like that. that could work pretty well. Yeah, basically, I'm still waiting. As I don't actually feel it's that personal anymore. And there's somebody in Hampshire Firearms right now going, bastard, we've tried really hard. Right, we've got to turn it up a bit. Callum doesn't feel personally attacked. Oh, right, well, we'll see to that. Daniel, you do love some meat in your mouth. God, it's just bring down the tone, why don't we? But yeah, I'm still waiting. I don't feel it's so personal because everybody else seems to be waiting at the moment for their tickets, but we will see. It is just utterly ridiculous the amount of time that it's taking, and of course, you know, it's never Hampshire without throwing a few other issues in there. Nothing too serious, just again a baffling understanding with what the law is and what people are allowed to do. I was just like seriously. Anyway, but yeah, we're still cracking on, doing what we want to do, not letting it get in our way. I honestly don't think about it. It honestly doesn't affect sort of my day-to-day. Oh, Paul. Yes, class A meme. Sorry. So this is fucking brilliant. This is absolutely class. I am going to have to post this on the page tomorrow, and people that don't get the context are just going to be like, but you guys will get it. Let's bring this up for you to see in all of this glory. Oh, come on, just do Facebook. I love the little touch as well. So this is when I said about the meme. This is what I had. This is better than what I had envisioned. Posting about the lead consultation. Pigeon spaghetti. Oh, yeah. That is Basque summed up to an absolute T. Oh, please put that in Discord, Paul. That is Gold Hall of Fame straight away. But it is that's why I get so frustrated. It's like it's on it, like that is the decision, isn't it? Pigeon spaghetti. Oh, that's I might even have. That's going to be the first meal if we ever do this, like Basque cook-off. It's going to have to be pigeon. How do you even make pigeon spaghetti? Like maybe like a pigeon carbonara. Maybe that would. I mean, you know, comedically wise, pigeon spaghetti ace. Cooking wise, pigeon carbonara probably a better recipe. Although pigeon's more like steak. Well, if it's like steak and you can make beef, maybe pigeon spaghetti would work. It's in Discord. Pigeon spaghetti. Oh, someone's got to remake. Someone has to redub Lose Yourself. Yeah, it's not mum's spaghetti. It's pigeon spaghetti now. No, they don't. They actually have a recipe for pigeon spaghetti. Are you kidding me? Oh, like, oh, I thought that was a genuine flavour of comedy there, but they actually have pigeon spaghetti. I'm genuinely intrigued now. Genuinely intrigued how you make pigeon spaghetti. Like, I probably scrolled past it a minute ago. I just didn't read it. It is there. Chef Jamie Oliver describes his spaghetti with wood pigeon ragu recipe a wonderful spag bowl for all lovers of game. It's a real thing. This has to be this has legs. This definitely has legs. Go away. Just accept all. One spag bowl for all. I mean, it looks a bit lumpy. Not gonna lie. Using wood pigeon, wonderful, because that's what I was like. What I was envisioning is how you make mincemeat out of pigeon. Like, I'm sure you just use a mincer. A wonderful spag bowl for all lovers of game using wood pigeon slowly cooked in tomato sauce. Well, there you go. You learn something new every day, don't you? We just learned something. Anyway, moving on. It's official. Basque is beyond a parody. I genuinely thought you'd been completely original with the pigeon spaghetti. Oh, I just need it. Just need a moment. It's all too much. Sean Miller, where's the best place to purchase 12 gauge slug in slab quantities? You can get in contact with Magload. We hold a normal amount of slug. Depends what you mean by sort of slab quantities. Like we have some in stock, but we can usually get slug in. You know, if you want us to order some in, we can get it in within a couple of days. And we can get as much or as little as you want. As little. Well, we can sell you a box of slug. We can sell you a slab of slug. Usually, slug isn't sold in the same quantities. I think a slab. It depends on the manufacturer, but a slab can sometimes be like 100 or 150 rather than like the 250 that sort of birdshot is usually sold in. But yeah, if you'd like some, we can sort you out. We use, I think it's Paul might know what the Gecko. We use Gecko coated competition slug. So it depends what you want the slug for. If it's for practical shooting, this is the stuff that we would highly recommend. We were using this, we've used this in the season so far. Brilliant stuff. It works, it cycles, it runs in the gun, and it's pretty accurate. Like, slug can be just a whole nother ball game, especially when they start putting targets out to like 100 yards. Like the rise and drop on slug is immense, and this stuff shot pretty flat, pretty well, and worked in the guns, which is always a bonus. So if you want any slug or anything, like, Magload doesn't just sell our own stuff. That's what we pretty much focus on, but we have accounts with pretty much every distributor within the country. We can get in pretty much every single gun, any optic, any ammunition that you want. If there's something that you want, no matter how small, how big, you can get in contact with us. You can either info, info at magload.co.uk, or you can get in contact with me directly, which is Callum, CALLUM, at magload.co.uk. Or if you really just want to annoy Paul at magload.co.uk. It will all end up coming back to me. So yeah, anything you need, guns, ammo, optics, advice, just hit us up. We regularly have chats with people on the phone, people always feel really guilty about, phoning up and having a conversation and asking advice and this, that, and the other. And you really don't, right? Like, we strive to offer the best customer service, and part of customer service is helping people. It's not forcing them to make a sale or forcing money out of their pocket. It's about help. The customer service is about helping, right? And the place where I bought my first shotgun was the place that I had happily visited 5 or 6 times previously, and they had given me 20 minutes, half an hour of their time each time, trying different things out, talking options through. And I'd been to other local gun shops, and they weren't interested in giving me the time of day, even though I was already spending money with them on other stuff. And I'm like, who are you going to go and shop with, right? And for sales and retail, I very much think about it. It's not about the sale today; it's about the sale tomorrow. And if you're not willing to put in the effort for to begin with, then you're you're not going to last very long in business. Same thing works with car sales. So you know, in various other things. I absolutely hate pushy sales. So anyway, long and the short of it, if you want any advice, don't feel guilty. I'll happily chew someone's ear off of what gun, you know, the selection of guns that would be, you know, my opinion of what would be best suited. Aaron T, does Magload sell? Paul IPSC. Why? That's PAUL at magload.co.uk. I give you all full permission to just spam him. Just do it. Just send him whatever you like. Just do it. Give him. You can even, like, please can somebody please can somebody phone up the Magload main line tomorrow, ask for Paul, say it's incredibly important, it's about a confidential matter that he's been speaking with Paul, and as soon as it gets over to Paul, just go, I think I'm gonna have to chrono your ammo, and just put the phone down, please. Paul's now not going into work. I will warn you though, Paul does have full permission to say whatever he wants to back, and he will. But anyway, does Magload sell 223 and 308 ammo? We have a small stock of it. It's mainly for personal use. Like, that's mainly the ethos of the business. Like, what we stock is what we end up using, and therefore what we recommend. But again, if there's something in particular you want to get in and you want to buy it from us, we will get it in for you. So again, you can drop in an email, and we always aim to be competitive on price. There we go. There's a bit of my used car salesman. I don't think I have the blag enough to be a used car salesman. I also don't have enough hair to slick it back and do that. Does Magload sell Nerf guns? Just in case. We'll get them in for you. Whatever you want. You want multi-shot, you want a Springer, you want electric, we'll get it in. You want big dart, small dart, you know, 10 round capacity, 30 round capacity, we will get it in. Do you want for your belt for Froome? Yes, please. Sorry, Paul. Can we ring for recipes? Yes, just for the lols. Just for the lols. Connors is gonna have no clue tomorrow. Someone's gonna phone up and go, sorry, do you have a recipe for pigeon polonaise? And Connor's gonna go, no. Can you get me the gun of Rambo Part 1? Yes. We can hook you up. We have connections. Anyway, don't forget to put the cup by your plate to spit the lead into from the spaghetti. Anyway, somebody back. Very big segue. Yes, I do feel a little bit bad. We're back in the room. That this wasn't covered, but basically, shock horror. They're looking at changing firearms licensing. They're looking at laws around firearms up in Scotland, and the reason I do feel bad actually that this was missed is because there was a call for evidence about this, right? So we got onto that in a second. There was somebody that was killed after a firearm was discharged. The responsibility for gun control, such as tighter gun controls were put in place following the 1996 massacre Dunblane. In recent years, new statutory guidance on firearms licensing for police has been published, and Police Scotland has called for people to hand in unneeded and unlicensed firearms. Well, yeah, duh. Please, could you stop being a criminal? An individual's mental history, including their mental health, is legally required to be taken into account by the police when applications are assessed, as it always has been, nothing new. However, whilst organisations note that the UK has some of the strictest gun laws in the world, some stakeholders, such as the British Association for Shooting and Conservation, have called for firearms licensing to be made smoother and easier for applicants. The committee plans to hold 2 evidence-based sessions as part of this inquiry, with further details will be announced in due course. Committee Chair Pete Wishart MP said, following the horrific shooting on the Isle of Skye, it is timely that our committee is looking into whether current regulations around the use of firearms are sufficient. Never something you really want to hear. While such events are incredibly rare, yes they are, you know, a child actually has a higher chance of drowning in a swimming pool than they do by being shot by a gun. You don't see people out there campaigning to ban swimming pools. As a result of tight gun controls, it does not lessen the tragedy that the community has experienced. But that's what it is, right? It doesn't lessen it. But it doesn't mean go and ban more. It's horrific. It's a tragedy, right? That doesn't mean you have to go out there and restrict things further, right? Like don't turn it into a double tragedy and kill an industry and a sport at the same time. The responsible use of firearms is critical for agricultural communities and sportsmen and women, right? Firearm is pretty crucial for an Olympic pistol shooter. However, concerns has been raised by some organisations that, yes, the GCN, the Gun Control Network, not a professional organisation, it's literally run out of someone's back room. You know, it's like some organisations like that, you know, that could be like the Home Office, right? No, it's the GCN, right? It's one woman with an angry keyboard warrior attitude. That firearms licensing service is plagued with delays in oh no, okay, I thought that was going completely the other direction. It's been raised by some organisations that firearms licensing service is plagued with delays in the process of applications. Okay, that's not the GCN, that's like Bath Countryside Alliance, just angry old men in their back living rooms. The committee is inviting written submissions to be received by October the 13th. Like, yeah, thanks everybody. Thanks Basque. Thanks Countryside Alliance. Thanks NRA for bringing this to our attention and asking us to make a submission on the adequacy of firearms licensing regulations in Scotland and the extent to which they are relevant to Scotland's particular circumstances, including its agricultural communities and sportsmen and women. Right, don't forget the sport. So this was the call of evidence, which of course we've missed. And don't get me wrong, like if somebody did actually send this, I think they did send it to me, and that's why we talked about it briefly on stream. But I didn't understand, like honestly, didn't see that there was this call for evidence. Terms of reference firearms licensing regulation in Scotland. The committee calls for evidence to be submitted on the following issues: how adequate are firearms licensing regulations in the UK and in Scotland in particular? To what extent are firearms licensing regulations adequate and relevant to Scotland's particular circumstances? What the fuck does that mean? I don't know, we're Scottish. We have particular circumstances. Including its agricultural communities and its strong connections with countryside sports. Yeah, target shooting, anybody? Should the process for obtaining a license for firearms be changed? For example, to place greater emphasis on the applicant's mental health, which they already do. Hello, we already do that. Should it be changed? Yes. Emphasis on mental health, yes, but anyway, as I said, it's closed, which is a shame because again everybody had the opportunity to do it, but there are 2 sessions, so they've already had I love me a good oral session. Sorry, couldn't resist. Past events, so this has already gone through, but there is another one, so there is more to come from this, and we will see what happens from these oral sessions. But where I saw it from was actually Basque, who put this out. Basque gives evidence at Scottish Firearms Licensing Inquiry. Well, obviously you knew about it then, but you did nobble to tell anybody else about it, didn't you? Like, you know. So anyway, But they've gone in there and said, you know, this shooting contributes 2 billion a year to the UK economy, and BASC is wholly supportive of an efficient, cost-effective, robust system of firearms licensing that protects public safety and provides excellent service to the community, reducing the term of certificates. Yes. So I think, you know, BASC are using this as, you know, they're going in there and being like, hold your horses. One person being killed, one tragedy does not make a law, right? This is not an issue. We don't need to knee-jerk and start making different laws about it, this, that, and the other. But BASC seem to certainly be using the opportunity to, you know, to continue the message of, hang on, there's something seriously broken with firearms licensing here. Something needs to change. We need more efficiency. We need a better system. Because let's not forget, like, the real issue here and the real fear is with these inefficiencies, with the firearms licensing departments not doing their job. That is when people are going to fall through the cracks. That is when, you know, these shootings are going to take place, when people that aren't suitable, that shouldn't be in possession of a gun, are going to get hold of firearms, right? So if you know, it's like, it's almost just a complete opposite to what these people think. If you want a safer community when it comes to firearms, not exactly like it's particularly dangerous, you know, in the UK being you know, the chances of being shot by a gun are just minuscule, right? So, you know, like a police officer, you know, somebody driving to the scene of a shooting is at higher risk of dying in that car than they are of being shot, right? So yeah, so it's not an issue. We don't need to have this knee-jerk reaction about it. What if you want to make sure that this doesn't happen? Like, we need to sort out firearms licensing. It needs to be more efficient, and they need to be able to do these the checks that are already adequate. They just need to be able to actually do well. Have you seen that Sassen have gone into liquidation with them, and the border gone? Getting good barrels made in the UK is getting tricky. Talk about Sassen barrels. Let me have a look then. So anyway, just to cap off on that, like, they're talking, they're at the evidence gathering stage for this Scottish, what was it? The Scottish Firearms Licensing Inquiry. There's no real statement at the moment if there's going to be any changes, and certainly not, you know, what those changes would be. But it is something now that I'm aware of, I will be following. Hopefully there's a little bit more information released about it, because no one really has a clue what's going on with it. We will have to see. We will have to see where that goes, but I will try and keep you all updated. Sassen Barrel or Engineerings. Let's have a look on their website. There's nothing on Facebook about it. Where have you heard this? Like, are any links to any news? I mean, this is probably a state of play of what the industry is like at the moment. The fact their website isn't loading this, is that, oh no, here we go. Britain's premier gun barrel manufacturers. I'll be honest, I hadn't heard of them previously. I've never actually bought a separate barrel for a gun, so there's absolutely nothing on their website. So I literally can't find any news about them going under. So yeah, if you could provide a source, that would be great. Ketchup, mayo. But yeah, I've never actually bought a barrel. Every gun that I've ever bought, or even for customers' guns, we've bought whole guns. But that's a shame. But I think it really is a state of play with the industry at the moment. Now, like, interestingly, it's, you know, if it depends. I mean, it is a global issue in the cost of living and all of this, but and I'm sure it's a global issue with sort of firearm sales and the firearms industry being in a bit of a rut. But certainly what we've found at Magload is like the export side of the business is huge at the moment, right? The pound is ridiculously cheap, so that's not good overall, but it is fantastic for international trade, because the Americans look at our stuff and it's pretty much 1-for-1 for them now. So, you know, they're not paying that 30, 40, 50% premium that they're used to paying. And, you know, with Brexit, you know, it's a really interesting thing with tax. So, you know, Magload, we are made in Britain, made in UK certified. And we far exceeded the bar that was required for that, because we make a specific effort to buy British, made in Britain. And what you end up doing is everything you buy in the within the UK has VAT on it, right? So you claim back that VAT. But if you sell predominantly abroad, which doesn't have VAT, then, you know, it's just like, okay, it's as long as it's short, but it's just, you end up claiming back all this VAT and not having to pay any VAT to the government. So, you know, exports for us, you know, with the pound dropping and all of this, I'm just surprised if they are, you know, an international company and they are supplying the international trade, that area of the business should be booming. And I could imagine that, you know, it is probably the international trade that somewhere like this is you know, mainly focused on. So, this has been a little bit of a your own investigative journalism. Company status liquidation. Interesting. Truth Junkie, thank you very much. Appreciate the support. Get some pigeon spaghetti chef lessons. So saying Black Guinea Pig, Sasson haven't updated the website. It's on the Company's House website. Border barrels went a few years ago. Lots of chat on the full board. There's lots on Facebook. If they're in liquidation but their site is up, then they're probably getting rid of stock. Jesting groups been going on a while. Sasson make great full bore barrels. Again, that's, you know, like PRS and say target rifle. You know, you guys know I'm very much a practical shooter, so that's probably why I'm not so aware of them. But yes, to confirm, if you go on Company's House right now, so you can see, like, I'll just bring it up on the screen. That would be far more professional, wouldn't it? We don't want any of that here, do we? Limited. Make sure I've got the right one. So yes, you can see here, Company's House. So obviously, if you're a limited company, you're registered on Company's House, and everyone can go on there and have a look. Company status liquidation. Other manufacturing not elsewhere classified. What would be interesting though is, I mean, this is public information, right? Like, anyone can go and see this. So let's see who the directors are. What would be interesting to see is, so they've all resigned. Wow. Okay, so there's only one director. John Michael seems secretary. Let's see if he's got any more appointments. So you can go on here. Total number of appointments 1. Okay, so we're just thinking, you know, there could be eventuality that they're restructuring, that it's being sold off, or they're moving it to another company. There could be a number of reasons that they do that. But seeing as currently the only director of the company is you know, he only has one appointment, there's no other companies involved. That doesn't sound good. And there's no, oh, that's interesting. Resigned earlier this year. Occupation journalist. Country of, what? That's a bit of a weird combination there. 2014, 2014, 2014. Yeah, so apart from that, that's a bit of, that doesn't add up really. But anyway, yeah, so yeah, it looks like they're very much going under. But again, I think, you know, unfortunately, that is what we could see. Maybe that even could be a sign of how the sport is changing. You know, we're in this sort of lull period for shooting sports with the licensing problems and cost of living, and you know, we're seeing disciplines like practical grow and bring in new shooters. You know, perhaps there just isn't the interest there in the target rifle to, you know, sustain these businesses anymore. Like perhaps that's what we're seeing. We are seeing a shift. Well, talk about doxing. That's not this is public information. Like anybody could go and see this. It's not right. And anyway, if that's their correspondence address, that's not necessarily their actual home address. It wasn't me, but in all the full-bore Facebook groups, first rumours, then proof of it came later. A buyer may have bought tooling, but TBC, and obviously delays in production. Absolutely. It will be a shame. Like, I mean, you know, it sounds like, it can sound really bad. This is like, you know, I'm a member of a load of car groups, and when somebody has an accident, they post their picture of it and go, "Oh, my baby," and then guaranteed within like 30 seconds, someone goes, "You're selling the wheels on that." But you know, how about Magload makes its own barrels? I do not need to get Connors another bit of machinery. That's just the list is already very, very long. So yeah, that's not good. Obviously not good for the company, not good for target rifle shooters. It's not good for the shooting industry to see places, British manufacturer for 30 years. That's not good. Not good at all. Agents and distributors. Let's look at, yeah, they pretty much supply all of the big sort of custom rifle builders. Not good. That's not good. You know, but that's what we're seeing. That could be a cause of the shift of the sport. That could be the cost of living crisis. But that, you know, this could be a direct result of what firearms licensing is or isn't doing at the moment. Anyway, moving on from that, something very positive, very cool, and I will 100% either way be getting one of these on the channel. So a while ago, I think it was a couple of years ago, you might remember I reviewed the Mantis X, which was a basically an accelerometer and an app that you could use for training. You could use it for dry fire, live fire, and it analyzed, like, it really did like sort of break down the like, you can see all the different aspects of the draw. So yeah, grip, pull, horizontal, target, shot. You can do that a number of times, and you can do dry fire. You could shoot lots of, you know, repeated targets. I was very, very impressed with it, and I think I did say, like, I would actually quite fancy picking one up. The thing that was missing was, you know, it's great for the live fire, but usually when you're down on a range and you're live fire, your time is limited, or it's hard enough to get down there. Like, I want to be doing, you know, other drills. It still could definitely benefit from the Mantis X, but it's the dry fire, right? And the issue with dry fire, and as you can see, is when I start doing some dry fire training, if it actually does it, Like, you've got to rack the gun every time to reset it. And what Mantis have released, which is absolutely incredible, and the price is absolutely incredible, is the Blackbeard X, the auto resetting trigger system with analytics and smart feedback. $319, and it does translate to about 300 quid landed here in the UK, right? And the system just looks insane. So I will be getting in contact with them. So basically, you drop in the magazine is the battery pack. The replacement bolt group is is the piston to reset, and you've also got the proprietary charging handle. But it all fits in a mil-spec AR-15 rifle. So if you currently have a CMMG bolt AR-15, so you have a battle arms, an air precision, a Landtac, anything that is a mil-spec AR-15 that is running the CMMG 2.2 conversion. Now, I'm not 100% on this, but it would be reasonable to assume that it will drop into that, and you will be able to dry fire train your split times, right? Which is absolutely incredible. I had this idea ages ago, and I had a rough idea of how to do it, but it was always going to be cost. It was like, if we did something like that, it would end up costing like £1,000. So 300 quid for something like this, and this is what they call the Blackbeard X. So it's this self-resetting trigger, but it's also got the same analytics and same app as what the Mantis X had. So it's this as a auto resetting bolt. You can buy just the auto reset somewhere around here somewhere. Where do you go? Let's go have a look in. Oh, there we go. Blackbeard. So you can just buy the shot Blackbeard. Yeah, so just the resetting, which there could be a lot of training benefits for alone, and it fires a little laser so you can see where it is. And also the app, I think this might just be exclusive to the X. The app, you can actually, it will scan targets and scan the lasers. So it's not just like, oh yeah, the laser was on that target. No, it will see where you pulled that trigger at that target. So really good breakdown for dry fire. Like, absolutely, like, I think this is absolutely next level. And when you compare it to the well, their website could be better. It's because I've gone really short on it. It's because I've got the page resized for the window here. I can't see. Let's go Mantis X10. There we go. So yeah, so bearing in mind the X10 Elite, right, is $249.99, right? But you can get the auto resetting bolt and the Mantis X for $319. Like, that's an absolute steal. I think that's incredibly well priced. So yes, I'll be getting in contact with them and asking whether they'd be interested in another review. So please go and check out this review, share it, like it, because it will help me. And we're actually going to look at stocking these at Magload, because, like, seriously, 100% we're going to use this. The possibilities as well that I've just thought about, like, think about linking this with VR, right? Using your own, like, mounting your controllers to your actual gun that you use, and using your actual trigger within VR training, within a sim training. Like, absolutely incredible. Like, I really, really excited. And basically it was like the group chat, like, hey, guys, look at this. And we were all just like, yeah, we're getting one. Like, almost before, like, we looked at the price, it was like, yes. Like, that is like in dry fire training, I think that is the missing piece. So yeah, I think it's only recently been released. But I think absolute game changer for dry fire training. So yes, there will probably be a review of that on the channel, hopefully soon, because it looks cool as hell. And not to forget, if we haven't gone on about it all enough already, there is a very important lead consultation. We could lose lead, or the use of lead outdoors. So the link below is a link to the consultation. Like, honestly, if you're into shooting sports, if you're watching this video, right? If you're watching this video, well, you're either an anti, gearing up for an attack. I welcome it, bring it on, or you're from Hampshire Firearms Licensing. So that aside, everybody else that was watching, you're into shooting, you're into shooting sports. Like, sign it. You have no excuse. Well, not sign it. Go and fill it out. And you have no excuse now, because there's a whole video on the channel, if you want to go look at the latest video on the channel, of how to fill it out. So no excuse. You can do it. You can either pause the live stream now, go and do it now, or wait until after the live stream. Just make sure, even if you're going, look, I don't have any intelligent things to say, my entry wouldn't be read, what's the point, this, that and the other. Like, literally go in there, get to page 2 and just go, I don't agree with this, I think it's all rubbish, you're making stuff up, you don't understand it, there is no good reason as to why we should ban lead, right? Boff, done. That's literally the bare minimum you have to do. And everybody, if you can make it onto YouTube and you can make it onto this live stream, and you have the ability to use technology to watch this stream, you have the ability to fill out the consultation. There is absolutely no excuse. Truth Junkie's just here for the recipes. Pigeon bolognese. We could have some maybe some grouse soup. How about, I don't know, a partridge trifle? Anthony L doesn't work on 2.2. But when you say it doesn't work on 2.2, like, I don't know, I have to disagree. Maybe you know something I don't. But it's a mil-spec upper, right? It's going to fit the mil-spec. It has nothing to do with the barrel. It has nothing to do, as far as I'm aware, it's going to fit where the CMMG conversion kit sits, right? The charging handle on these guns, like the battle arms, charging handle's the same. Now, I could be completely wrong, but I am willing, I'm going to fall on the sword here. I'm willing to take that chance for you guys to let you know, because if you can drop it into these guns, it's going to be a serious training aid. You'll be able to, at home for free, like, this is the other thing as well, like with ammo costs going up and up and up, you can really get your trigger control in. You can dial your trigger control perfectly. You can practice your target acquisition. You can train your target transitions at home, right? You could be running around the house, shoot, like, you could do it within your own home. Like, I just think it's awesome. I brought an Oculus after I saw your IPSC VR review. That I actually still need to do a full video on. It's something that I do use fairly regularly. I actually find even there's a game, I can't remember what it's called now, but there's like a sort of a Modern Warfare sort of Call of Duty game. I genuinely find that good for training, because the physics in it are very good. So, when you're taking long shots, yes, and, sort of not a very good example, because normally long shots at people, but when you're taking long shots, like, you've got to steady yourself, right? And okay, you're using 2 controllers, but you can get rigs, to make it more rifle like. You have to control your breathing. You still have to get that sight picture. You have elevation change in it, right? You've got to take all of the same things into account. And I actually find it very, the trigger's completely different because it's a joystick, but I actually find it beneficial for the training. But also, obviously, the IPSC VR, very beneficial. It gets you into that match sort of condition. The commands, the routine, doing a stage, even planning a stage, just it's good. It's good, memory exercises and good training. Thought this was a cooking stream. Should I do that next week? Like, honestly, should I cooking with Callum, pigeon bolognese, pigeon spaghetti? MOD is exempt. It may cause big issues for civvy clubs using MOD ranges, as non-lead ammunition weirdly may not be allowed. Yeah, that's the ridiculous thing about it. Callum should have Chris Packham on the show and let rip. That would be interesting. The laser does not mate with the barrel extension. Otherwise, I would be buying mine now. Interesting. Okay. I'm sure there's ways to get around that. More, because the thing is, some of these guns are using 223 barrels, so we will investigate. I will investigate it. Maybe you can even ask them to make a 2.2 variant. Like, there's always that. I think it would be big enough in the UK for the market for them to do that, or maybe we could even modify one. Willing to give it a try. Callum's cooking stream, orders from Uber Eats. Was like English shooting burger. Restriction proposal 004, lead shot in ammunition done. Awesome. Good to hear it. All of you should be doing that as well. Some positive news, I think, to finish up on. Before any of you want to bugger off, make sure you like and subscribe. It does make a difference. Honestly does. It helps share out the channel. But some very, very incredibly good news. European Shotgun Championships, right? All of the people that don't like practical and IPSC, you can leave now. Basically, there's a European Shotgun Championships, I think every year or every other year, and it's a level 4, right? It's a level 4 competition. Bearing in mind, we haven't held a level 4 or a level 5 world shoot for 30 years. So this is big, right? This is big news. The UK PSA are going to submit a bid to host an IPSC level 4 European Shotgun Championship. Now, bearing in mind that practical shotgun was pretty much born here, right? And we are some of the best in the world at it. And so to be able to hold the European Shotgun Championships, I think, is an amazing opportunity. It's an amazing privilege for the country and for the sport. I think it's a huge boost overall. Now, I have had it confirmed by a number of people that so we hope to be able to host and run one of the biggest shotgun matches yet, and we have at present at least 2 ranges which could host the event, plus the possibility of a further one on the horizon. So I believe the 2 ranges, got to get this right, I can't remember what the one on the horizon was now, but it was Recoil Scotland. Now they have an amazing facility already. It needs a little bit more, I think, infrastructure, but they've got the bays, they've got the capacity and the space to be able to put on a level 4. There's of course Llanbradach, so that is going to be that's already holding. Recoil held their first level 3, but Llanbradach and Pro Shoot, they're holding level 3s now. They've done that 2 years in a row, and you can just see with the space that they've got, a couple of extra berms, or even just some really clever stage design, you'd be able to squeeze out a level 4 there. So that's a possibility. And I think the new range that's being built at Basildon is a potential as well, where it could potentially be held. So amazing. I think it's just amazing that we have at least 2 ranges where you can hold a level 4 here and potentially another one on the horizon. And just to drill it home, If we are fortunate enough to win the bid, then this will be the first time since 1993, the Handgun World Shoot 10, that the UK PSA has been able to host a match higher than a level 3 in Great Britain. Like 30 years, right? So huge props to, this is what we want to see. This is, this is progression. This is the sport, moving forward and growing, because you have a big event like this with international shooters, your hundreds of international shooters, if not over 1,000, descending on the UK. Like, it's going to gather attention. It's also aspirational, right? It's not, a level 3 match is still, it's a national level match. It's what crowns national champions. But a level 4, right, to have that, there's so many people that will be able to enter that because it's on their doorstep. There's a lot of people that they can't, usually it's held out in Hungary, like CISO, the Central European Shotgun Open, which I believe is I think it's either a level 4 or it's a level 3 that's run like a level 4. But, like even getting out to Hungary, right, you can be talking a couple £100 on flights. You've then got your accommodation, your car rental, all the additional expenses, right? Yes, it can be expensive to shoot at a level 3, but it's going to be a hell of a lot easier and a lot more accessible for the younger generations to take part, the juniors within our sport within the UK, and all levels of competitor. So, amazing. This is what we want to do. I very much want to see a pathway for the UK PSA to a level 5, right? I still think there should be a bid put in to hold the mini rifle world shoot. Still think there should be a bid put in to hold the action air world shoot. Again, 2 disciplines that we're very, very good at. The opportunities are there, and I think with enough drive and enough focus and dedication, and there are an abundance of people that have that for the sport, we can hold a world shoot again. And I think we should see that the road to a world shoot here within the UK. It's not just a massive boost for practical shooting; it's a massive boost for shooting in general. Holding world championships. It really does hammer home that shooting is still very much alive within the country, and there's incredible talent here. If you can get them to make one for the UK market, I'm your first customer. Cool. I will, like 100%. I want, this is screw everyone else. I want one, right? So I will do my best for it. You were at the World Shoot X. What an amazing event. Yeah, for those, I think I've shown this on the channel before. Let me bring this up. It's on YouTube, right? It's Handgun World Shoot X. Oh, come on, where is it? Bisley. That's right. That's the kicker. It was held at Bisley. But of course, I can't find the video. I think I actually have it downloaded. Let me bring this up quickly. I've got this downloaded for a very good reason, because I had this amazing idea a while back, which is still hasn't come to fruition yet. But here we go. That is the founder of IPSC himself, Mr. Jeff Cooper, on Stickledown at Bisley. I have to say, practical shooting has progressed quite a bit. And there are actually, the funny thing is, going through this, there are a number of familiar names, people that are still very much part of the UK practical scene. But yeah, this is the Hang-On World Shoot being held at Bisley. But the crazy thing, right, you think about what Bisley is like, right? Now, need I say no more? That it's going to be here somewhere. But they have a helicopter, right? There's a helicopter. There's cars on the range going in and out of it. Where's the helicopter? And also, like, some of the red dots. You've got to appreciate some of the red dots here, right? Oh, Paul, did you see that? Did you? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Well, there's the helicopter. Where was it? You know, there we go. You're having flashbacks, Paul. I wonder if they met Power Factor. But anyway, look at that dot. Oh god, that went a bit wrong. Look at that dot. Wow, Terminator style. Yeah, so they had the Bank of England stage, like, so you jump out of a helicopter, run into a makeshift bank, absolutely blat it. Who's that? Oh, I thought it might have been Jerry Mishlak. I know there is, certainly I've seen his wife previously on here. Well, that fairly big name in shooting. But yeah, could you imagine this sort of stage at Bisley now? Like, there would be guys having heart attacks left, right and centre. UK Colette Barnes. See any more? Any UK Boykin? But yeah, like, there's literally a full video of the Bob Dunkley, one of I believe the founding members of the UK PSA. So, you know, these people are still about on the scene. It's incredible. You can get lost in it. Let's check some more stages. This one looks a bit of a quick one. Oh, don't know if you got those last two, but it's fascinating. It's fascinating to see, like, that this was held in the UK to begin with. Like, this was we once held this. Like, we could once have handguns in the UK. Stephen Allery, a name that I know that's still on the circuit today. You know, that's from Stickledown, right? It's what. It's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Anyway, I've forgotten. You know, it's just nice, right? And to have the potential to hold something like that to look back on, you know, later down the line, to say we did that here, right? Before they take even more away. So I think we should, 100% be holding level 4s and aim for that level 5. Anyway, on that nostalgic positive note, make sure you Crew Gadley, Bob was 3-time European champion and something like 12 times UK. His shop is your local. Funnily enough, next weekend I'm going to be up there. So I'm shooting the Shield level 4, the Shield Cup round 4 up at Tall Trees with a mini rifle. They opened it up for mini rifle, so I was like, cool, I'll go and shoot that. I want to keep my mini rifle up there. Had the training this weekend just gone, which went really well. You know, always good to actually get some practice in and not just be in a match environment. So yeah, very much want to keep focused on mini rifling, stay hot and fresh. Ideally shotgun as well, but I just find it much harder to practice. But yeah, every opportunity to shoot mini rifle, so I'll be up there. I'm looking forward to to meeting him, because I've heard quite a bit. Heli is the first stage. I found it in the end. No belt for you. That's 3 strikes. I can't help myself. IPSC is heavily linked to the US PSA. If a country won't allow guns that are US legal, so most country's legislations, most guns are designed to suit the US, then it's a good idea. Then is it a good idea for them to host it? Well, it's a good idea here if, like, I mean, okay. Oh no, I think the issue with the shotguns is the lengths, but they made special exemptions for the Olympics. This is a world, this is a World Cup, World Championships. Spectators allowed. I don't know. I would assume so, to come down and have a look. Certainly if you're a member of the club already, worst case they're going to just tell you to go. But you can get in contact with Shield. You can comment on one of their pages if you want to come down and look. I mean, personally, I don't know why they wouldn't want people coming and viewing it and having a look and wanting to take up the sport. But anyway, EnglishShooting look up. That statement followed by some others. What? I see massive issues with length for this. No open guns, as who other than us has 12-inch for box fed. I think we should focus on hosting mini rifle and action air. The international members, European, were all against it and said that their franchises would be too. I see the annoyance. Imagine if we couldn't shoot mini rifle because the random country we allowed only allowed 20-inch rifle barrels. But then look at, like, the US was going to hold mini rifle, right? And they're not allowed smaller than 16-inch barrels. So there were people, Dan, that got 12-inch barrels that would have to go out there and buy a 16-inch barrel. That's part of the reason on the gun that I'm using for competition, it's got a 16-inch barrel. I much prefer a shorter 12-inch barrel. Yes, there's the arguments of accuracy and this, that, and the other. Go and have a look at TACOM's page if you want to talk about short barrels and accuracy. So I think that's been dispelled a fair bit. Yes, of course, then you've got the ballistics and all of that, something else to contend with. But TACOM can make a 2-inch barrel that can ring gongs at 100, 200 yards, so it can be done. So America was going to hold the mini rifle world shoot with 16-inch restrictions that everybody else had to fall in line, and everyone else had to go out there and make sure that their guns were, the correct length. So why can't we be the annoyance? We've talked about it as well. There are potential ways around it. So first, get in an exemption because it's a world championship, and these are people that are going to be bringing these guns in temporarily. It could be done with the right authority or with the right modifications to the guns. But yes, I think mini rifle and action air are far more likely for us to get. But I think shotgun, give us something, please. I mean, if we use Lambradic, it's basically a different country. Right, so we can appeal to the Welsh government rather than the English government. But yeah, we'll see. Anyway, we will see. I need to get off. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed tonight, guys. Again, thank you everyone for your support and for watching and joining us this evening. Make sure you hit that like button before you head off. We'll be doing this same time, same place next Thursday. I literally have lost the list is too long to tell you how many videos and what videos are either in edit or about to be in edit or have planned, or whatever comes out this week comes out. There we go. Not making any promises. I'm trying my hardest. And we're moving into Black Friday, which is the busiest period for Magload. But yes, there will be more videos to come soon, and of course we do this every week. So there we go, guys. Big thanks again. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and of course, as always, I hope to see you soon.